Do you want to get your business in front of over 100,000 viewers every month? Advertise with 321 and enjoy the best value in local advertising while supporting free community live streams. Your message will be seen across live high school sports, morning shows, and local events, connecting you directly with engaged audiences, boosting your visibility, growing your brand, and helping us keep these broadcasts accessible to everyone for free. Partner with 321 today and watch your business thrive. Happy Monday, everybody. It is time for Behind the Curtain with the Granite Theater. My name is Ben Barber, and today I am once again joined by Nicole DiMattei. It's been weeks, Nicole.
It has been weeks,
It's
actually.
been weeks.
Yeah, I wasn't able to make it last week, and then the week before was my daughter's birthday, and therefore it was a mommy Taya day because she declared she was not going to school. So yeah, it's been 3 weeks, but I'm back. Here I am.
Yes, here you are indeed. And last week, by the way, I had a wonderful conversation with the incredibly talented Sandra Laub, who is the Allergist's wife, the titular character.
Yes.
That was great. Sandy and I go back 20 years. And if you didn't check out that episode, make sure you go back and check it out. And then you actually were on 321 without me.
Without you, I know it was sad
Yeah.
to be here and you not there.
I know, right? Although
Yeah.
it's nice for me.
Not
Not
to
that I
take a
didn't
little-
want to see
to take a
you,
little
but
breath.
just I like when things happen and I'm not involved with them directly.
Yeah.
I'm sure that you
I
can.
do too.
Yeah. It's very nice. So today we have the other star of the show,
The Allergist.
the allergist in the allergist and the tale of the allergist's wife.
I like to say the allergist's wife's husband.
Okay, there you go.
Yes.
That's
That's right.
that is technically true. Yeah. Ken Coe.
Mhm.
Okay. How are you, Ken? Nice to meet you.
Great. Good to be here. Thank you.
I've heard a lot about you, and Sleuth was a big thing everyone talked about, and said that you were incredible in it. I did not get a chance to go see that show. My apologies, but I've heard your name quite a bit. So, how did you get involved with Granite Theater?
Well, the funny thing is my son got involved with Granite Theater first, and that's how I heard about Granite.
Okay.
My son David was in a show, Boing Boing, a couple of years ago. And I got involved in set building for it and did some other things. I had always wanted to get back into acting. I did some acting when I was young and in my late teens and 20s, and then family and career kind of got in the way, and I got away from it. And I always promised myself that I would get back into it when I had the time. And a little over a year ago, I retired, and ta-da, had the time. and so I kind of kept that promise. But it was great. It was great because with David doing the show at the Grand, we came over, we saw it was a wonderful show. Really enjoyed watching it and watching him in it, and got to meet Nicole and a lot of other wonderful people. And then last year when Our Town came up, when I remember a year and a half ago when I found out that Our Town was on the schedule for this year, it just I thought that's it. It has, as I had gotten older, I'd reread Our Town after like everybody else, I read it in high school and went yeah. But then 20 or 30 years later, I went back to it and went, this is an incredible play. This play is moving me to tears. You know?
Yeah.
And
I feel like everyone has that journey.
Yeah,
with Our Town.
exactly. Yeah.
You need life experience to like really understand Our Town.
Yeah.
But so I was really excited about trying out for it. Ended up getting into it, playing Mr. Webb, and landed in the middle of a cast that I could not believe. The stuff that I had done when I was young was, down in Atlanta, down in Florida, and it was fun. I had a great time with it and everything. But now all of a sudden, up here, it's kind of a different world, with our proximity to New York and
I
the
was like, wait,
amazing-
not fun?
no, no.
No, yeah.
No, more fun.
Okay,
more,
okay, there we go.
more everything.
Just to clarify, more fun.
But I felt like, up here, I feel like I'm jumping into the deep end of the pool. The people in the cast around me were just blowing me away with the way they're developing their characters, layering their performances one layer after another. And I was just watching this through the rehearsal process, and it was scaring me to death. I was thinking, and it, it ended up making me like work 3 times as hard as I ever anticipated working at it, because I didn't want to let these other people down. That's how good the cast was,
Yeah.
And, so it's been that way, basically with every show I've been involved in at the Granite. It's a wonderful experience. So, really
And
cool.
Ken's definitely not the first person to say something like that. I really love how the professional vibe at the theater just makes everyone want to be better, and then just be prouder of their experience.
Yeah.
And it's really what you. I would just though like the 2 shows you were in were Our Town and Sleuth, and those were just major home runs. So
Really proud of both of
you,
them. Yes.
you bring gold, sir. And that's why everyone should see The Allergist, The Tale of the Allergist Wife. But even and this cast is
This is
oh my gosh.
this is I've said this to you before. I say this every show I get involved in at Granite, but this is the most talented cast across the board that I've ever worked with. It's it's just an absolute treat. I mean, you've talked with Sandy. Sandy. She's an amazing actress. Heather is an amazing actress with loads and loads of experience. Both of them have taught acting. I mean, frankly, Heather and I were in Our Town together, and she taught me a lot. I mean, just watching her, and it's been that way every time. In the rehearsal process, just watching people like, Sandy and Heather and the other people in the cast. I mean, Mo and Cooper, they're all wonderful. And I feel like I'm learning every night.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that's the best. That's when you want to, you always want to you always want to feel like the least talented person in the room, even though I'm sure
It's
you're
easy
not.
to feel that way.
But you want to, that's how you know that you're shooting upwards.
Yeah.
So
Growing.
growing. Yeah. So I think that's wonderful.
And it is just top to bottom. We Roger Pavey Jr. just came on as he reached out. It was new to the area. He works at the Eugene O'Neill Theater and wanted to get more involved in designing and directing. And so he was like, we met, and he was like, I would love to design the set for The Tale of the Allergist Wife. And I'd like to be considered for a director in the future. And I told him, now I know a lot of people in the area, and I know my casts, and now I want to protect my casts. So moving forward, I'm asking new directors to assistant direct a show, so that they can just like see how we operate.
Yeah.
And it's a little audition, right? And so he jumped right on board. He was like, well, if you'll take me for Allergist Wife. We had him sit in on a rehearsal because he didn't know the show, and he laughed the whole time.
There's been a lot of that.
There's been a lot of laughing, yeah. But oh my gosh, his set design is just absolutely gorgeous.
Oh, it's a treat. It's a real treat.
Just looks so
Yeah.
beautiful. It fills the stage, and you guys have so much to play with
Mhm.
in that set, and it is a delight to watch. We were we were on headset yesterday during tech, and I was like, this set rivals sets I've seen, off Broadway, famous, Neil Simon shows, right? Like, with stars in them. Then he's like, I mean, this direction could be off Broadway. I was like, do you just want to keep doing this all afternoon? But it's just, yeah, the show is such a treat, and There's only 3 rehearsals left. That's crazy.
Yeah, and scary.
And
right?
scary.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, but it's good. It's, I think you guys need to hear people laughing at you other than me.
It'll be it'll be nice to have a room full of people
Yeah.
and get that going.
Yeah. So, but before we get into opening night, we have a comment here from Donald Ellis, who said, "Agree with Ken. I had the same experience coming from Ohio." So yeah, you thought it was going to be a joke immediately. So I mean, hey, good for you, Don. You got these people rolling before you even say anything. So great for him.
Hey, Don, are you at the theater right now?
We have a large audience. It's mostly people that are
literally
that are
2
300
blocks
yards
away.
away. Yeah. So anyway, let's talk about opening night. So how's it going? How you feeling? Friday is opening.
Friday's opening night.
Okay.
I think we're feeling about the way we ought to be feeling at this stage in the game, which is basically scared to death.
I was just gonna say. So yeah,
That is generally what
terrified.
Monday feels like.
Yeah.
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 There's. I think if you're in the cast, you always want those extra nights of rehearsal. And it's a tug of war with the director saying, "No, you'll be over rehearsed. You'll be give us another rate."
We are playing that game because I told them they can have tomorrow night off. The look of they're like
Sheer
wondering
terror.
whether
Did
to
you-
thank
did you
me
see
or
those deer in the headlight looks. Yeah,
like, wait,
right.
should we?
Yeah.
But it's so much of the show is about the relationships, and even the blocking is very natural, and especially like on that set, it is, I always say I block choreography, right? And it just feels the movement across the stage and those angles it's really, really beautiful. So but there's a lot of lines, I say that next to Ken, who did Sleuth, which was 3 times as many lines. But it's one of those things where if one person doesn't move when they're supposed to move, or if one person doesn't say the line, it really, you watch the energy just go whoop, because of how it is pieced together, and it's a dance. So I think that's the biggest.
And it's a very naturally played dance. It's interesting because I had to. It took me a lot of reading and a lot of rehearsal to realize that this play is a modern day fable,
Yeah.
And I mean it's right there in the title. Right?
It's the tale.
yeah. But it's not played out as one. It's played very naturally, and yeah, we've got a lot of. It has to be done with a lot of realistic business. I mean, we're eating a lot. I don't have to have dinner before this play. Sometimes I'm trying to spit lines out with with a mouthful of food, but there is a lot of business. There is a lot of. I think Sandy said it best last week. There are a lot of weird things that happen, and it's very fun that way. But yeah, we just we're all over the place on this set. And just I feel like it's constant movement sometimes.
It really is. And then Maureen, who plays the mother figure, who was Jeanette in Full Monty, she doesn't move a lot. She's she uses a walker, but then when we have her move, like it's very deliberate, and again, part of the dance, and it is a lot. It is a lot to remember, and we ran the show. We ran the show last week.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. And it was great.
Yeah.
It was great. Yeah. So, but that was pre-technical elements.
Right.
So now, and honestly, the technical elements are not that much. It's all takes place in an apartment. So it is mostly lights up and lights down. We're doing some fun things with the lights, but it doesn't really affect the performers. And when I say fun things, it's not the movers that were in Full Monty, right? It's just like daytime versus nighttime,
Yeah.
lights coming through the window, things like that.
The nerdy stuff
the
that you
nerdy
love.
stuff,
to-
yes.
yeah.
The stuff that the audience doesn't consciously notice, but that adds to
And
it.
that's
Yeah.
the best. That's the best when you don't. You would notice if it wasn't there.
Mhm.
Like, you know,
Yeah.
that's great. It just anything that helps you with that suspension of disbelief, especially like a certain straight plays lose that suspension of disbelief element that you might have in a musical where you're like, okay, we're in a black room and there's this thing over here and you're fine. But when you have that set and you have like this very realistic situation that you're in, the lighting matters and
Yeah.
the, you know, all of that stuff. So it's very cool.
It's funny you mentioned the set because just the other night we were working on it. You're familiar with the Granite. They've got, you know,
Yep.
the building has this big arched proscenium, and obviously in our town there was no set at all. It's the way the play's done. Then we did Sleuth, and with Sleuth we did a very surreal set to kind of draw the audience in and help them with suspension of disbelief. It was really interesting, very very game oriented,
Yeah.
very surreal, very macabre set in some ways.
I was looking at the pictures.
and-
I saw the noose hanging in the
Oh, yeah,
background and
it
stuff.
had
Yeah.
Ken made the guillotine and the hangman. What the heck is that called?
Yes, the scaffold. Yes, fun story. I was with a buddy, Kevin Mackey, and we were in Home Depot collecting things for that set, and we found just the right rope, and we're looking at each other and checking out this rope and going, this is going to make the perfect noose. And then, of course, we have to tell the guy who's helping us, it's for a play, okay? You know?
Yeah, absolutely.
But this set, I realized just looking at it, you know, looking around at the stage, this is going to be the first time, I think, in a couple of years that we've had a set where the proscenium arch doesn't figure into it because it's such a strong element
Mhm.
on that stage,
Yeah.
but you don't even notice it in this
Right.
set. It's disappeared.
It is. It's interesting the amount of times that I've tried to put the proscenium into the show just to like incorporate it. You know, even in Full Monty, the lights were around
Mhm.
it. And then I bricked the proscenium for Guys and Dolls. We painted a piano on the proscenium arch for Nonsense. So it just, you're right. It's always stressing me out. Like it was like there used to be this second floor platform upstage, and you had to use it in every show because it was
Yeah.
it was there and it took up so much room. And so in October of 23 we knocked it down, which was amazing. But it was like, it's like that kind of thing where because you have it, you have to use it. And obviously we can't take the proscenium down because I think it's holding up the building. But Ken's totally right. This set, the proscenium just disappears, which is the first time I've seen that happen.
Yeah, but that's how effective the set design is. Roger's really done some beautiful things with it.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Steve Spartano said, as for weird things, let's just say some guys have all the luck. I don't know what that.
Yeah, I'm not going there.
Okay. The Westerly High School Ward Auditorium, not Babcock, also has the arch, and in, I don't remember what it was for. It was in the early 2000s for something. Mr. DeAngelis had built an addition onto the stage. So there was a platform in the front of the stage just like that. And everything was planned for that. And it was because they had so many kids. Like when they did, I think I've said this, when they did Wizard of Oz, they had so many like kids in it. They had like well over 100 people in the cast. And at one point he yelled, "I wish a house would fall on me." But I don't know. I don't remember if it was that or Guys and Dolls or whatever they had done, but they just sort of left that platform up. So then it was an addition to the stage that was just there all the time. And I remember planning something around having that addition to the stage on there. Then I went in one day and like someone took it down, and like it was like my whole blocking, everything was good for that was with that platform, using that platform, and it was gone. And I was like, who just did that? Like, did the construction class need extra wood? Like, I'm not sure why. I still don't know why that happened to this day. But anyway, that was just, I was like, it's weird to me how many similarities Granite's stage and the Westerly High School stage had at that point.
Right, same town, same era, right?
Yeah,
Right.
yeah. When was Granite transformed into a theater?
From what I can tell, the records are very strange, but 1985,
Okay.
I think, is when the Colonial took it over. And it was still, from what I've been told, they had pews as seats. And then in 1999, 2000 is when the big renovation came.
The chorus hall had pews for seats for a really long time too.
Oh,
It was the original Immaculate Conception Church.
right.
Yeah, my grandma got married there actually.
Aw.
Cool.
At the George Kent Performance Hall.
Though it is really funny because my daughter now knows the Granite, it was a church, and the chorus, which was a church. And so we pass churches and she says, what theater's that?
Yeah, that makes sense. I know those two things, and I have a habit of when I'm in a church going, I could turn this thing into a theater.
This could be a theater.
What is it
literally-
about churches, old churches being
Yeah,
theaters?
right?
Because the one that I worked in college was an old church. I mean,
It's
just
a natural,
Yeah.
so it's a big
It's a
open
performance
space.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a
right, yeah,
performance
it
space.
is.
There is
Yeah.
there is a stage in the front generally, and
Yeah.
seats
Yeah.
that all face towards the altar, and it's there's probably a lot more you could dive into it, but that it makes sense. But yeah, I was always like, this church is declining. I wonder if this church Dave, if this church was ever available to be turned into a theater, and he would always be like, that's not happening. And I'm like, but it could
it
be, but it could be. It could. And we should turn this church into a theater, like random churches too. Like I didn't belong to them. I didn't, I just was like, I'm going to turn this into a theater.
You're welcome.
And I stand by it. Nice full circle moment, actually. My grandmother, the last time she ever saw me perform was at the George Kent Performance Hall. So it was at the venue that she got married at 70 years before or
adorable.
whatever.
wow,
Yeah.
yeah.
Anyway, what has been your favorite part about getting into this as the Allergist?
Since I've kind of gotten back into this thing, and I had like a 40-year gap in acting, but since I've kind of gotten back into this, every play has been a completely different style, completely different things that, I mean, the whole thing about, I enjoy acting, I enjoy backstage work and everything. I mean, the backstage work is fun because I get to use woodworking skills and theater all at the same time. I mean, huzzah. But with the acting, it's it's you get to inhabit somebody else. You get to experience somebody else's, live in somebody else's skin and find out what that's like. It's and you just get to. I guess with Allergist. Same thing as Sandy said last week. I'm not going to get into any details, but the play is wonderfully weird. Wonderfully weird things happen, and it's just fun to kind of go along for the ride on that. I'm looking forward to the audiences going along for the ride on that.
Yeah.
In a way that was, that was different. Than our town, which is, an absolute, classic of literature and very straightforward representation of I guess, Americana at the time. Sleuth being this, larger than life English, upper crust snob type character. Allergist up, Upper West Side, upper class, New York, kind of very sophisticated. It's really funny. Allergist has this really weird blend of uh, being very sophisticated one moment, and then he'll do a 180 and go completely lowball,
Yeah.
you know,
Right.
lowbrow rather, and and you know, uh, and and it's just fun the way it keeps knocking you off your feet, from one moment to the next.
Yeah. That's
Um,
awesome.
I just love it so much. And I feel like I've made it clear that I've spent most of my life in musical theater and musical comedies, but um, I am so used to, you know, television shows, right? Comedies that are just joke, 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 joke. And you kind of wonder, like, is this joke going to land tonight? But that's not this show at all. Like,
No.
it's a situation. It's a
This
sitcom.
is
Haha.
this is
It's a
very
situational
it's
comedy.
this is
Like,
very character-based
yeah.
comedy. The things that these people are saying would not sound right coming from other people.
Yeah.
Um, and the humor comes from the characters that are developed. Um, and it's really fun to experience that way. Not at all, complete opposite of something like a Neil Simon comedy, which
Mhm.
is, one punchline after another.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And I'm just so interested because I feel like I keep like I've been laughing every single rehearsal.
I watch people add things.
Yeah.
The other night, Cooper, who
Cooper?
plays the
Oh my
doorman,
gosh.
wonderful, wonderful guy. He's I'm really enjoying watching him. And he added something on a particular role. Everybody in the cast, everybody in the house just cracked up. It's like, how are we going to get through this when there's an audience out there,
Right?
But that's the great thing about going through an experience like this. You keep seeing people make the performances better and better and better, and it's just fun to watch that. It's
Yeah.
fun to be a part of that.
And it's been really in this atmosphere, it's been a lot of, playing and that's I love that, right?
Yeah.
No one is expected to come into their first rehearsals being perfect. The idea is to grow and to find things and to try things, realize it doesn't work, and then try something else later and, work with the director, work with the other cast members to try to find these moments. And that moment that you're talking about with Cooper was just so amazing because he had been doing it a different way for the rest of the rehearsals and it was fine. It was funny, it was fine, but when he took that 180 spin on the line, that's how the line is supposed to be delivered. There it is.
Yeah.
And because the rehearsal has been so open and free and having that ability to like stretch, he was able to do that and not feel, well, this is the way I've been doing it, I must keep doing it until after opening night, at which point the show is locked and we don't play for jokes. But again, I am just so interested to see the audience's reaction because it's so funny. It's so funny, but I don't know, like, it's not like that is a decidedly funny joke. This is a decidedly funny situation.
Exactly.
How do people react to that?
Yeah. And this is a show, I hadn't heard of it before it was announced in the lineup.
Yeah.
And I think that's the case for a lot of people, haven't necessarily heard of it. And I'm trying to push this with everybody I know because it's a good show. It's a great show. And we've got great people doing it. And I think it's going to come across wonderful. And I want people to see it. People are going to enjoy it.
Yeah, it's going to be incredible. Fantastic cast, incredibly well cast, by the way.
Thank you.
Just fantastic. I mean, Ken, honestly, like, I would 100% believe that you were a doctor. or at the very least, someone who plays doctor at dinner parties. And I did it. I did it.
Yeah.
I did it.
Yes, you did.
I did it. I found a way. I found a way. Honestly, I just stay up for days before an episode. Before an episode, thinking of how I'm going to slide in a joke that no one else is going to understand unless they know the script or the music of something very like slightly, and you know what I mean. So
That's great.
Great. You guys think that I do other stuff. I don't. I just
that's
think
keeping
about
him busy.
Yeah, I think you're confusing me with somebody who has a life. Anyway, what? So okay, are you not? I don't want to jump forward too much here, but I know that some of these people that are in the show were in Full Monty, and some of them are going to be in Laramie Project, and so on and so forth, because it's a never-ending revolving door.
It is. So to answer your question, yes, Ken is in Laramie Project, which I would love for him to chat about. Yeah, you know what? It is a cast revival of our town plus.
Honestly, there's only one reason I'm doing Laramie Project, because I wasn't going to do it because I was just not crazy about all of the overlapping effort that would be involved in doing two shows with overlapping rehearsal schedules and all of the, time and work involved. But I really wanted to work with Brad again. Brad Delzer, he directed Our Town, and he was such an amazingly great director to work for, and I wanted to work with him again. And even at that, I wasn't going to audition, and I happened to be in the theater the first day of auditions doing something else, and Brad and I got to talking, and he said, well, there's a way that you could be involved, but not quite as much time commitment as some of the other roles. And I said, well, that makes it really interesting, and I ended up auditioning and doing Laramie, and I'm glad. It's a really, it's a heavy emotional play. Obviously it's a play that revolves around the horrific crime from almost 30 years ago when a young gay man was beaten and left for dead outside of Laramie, Wyoming. And the theater company that created this play, I almost don't know what to call it, because it's not a story in any traditional sense.
There is it's like a docu. It does have a very specific, because the interviews are word for word.
Yeah,
they are not
it's
dramatized.
True.
Like
it is.
The entire thing is dramatized, but they are taken word for word and just pieced together.
Yeah.
So it is completely factual and not based on,
and it's it's extremely emotional. It's very very unsparing in how it presents both the best and the worst of human nature. Yep. And rehearsals have at times been pretty emotional for some of us.
I would imagine that they would be.
Yeah. And but it's absolutely worth seeing. It's an experience that you walk away from the experience going, okay, that's humanity right there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
so it's an eclectic season, it really is up, down. I tried to put them in, Full Monty is just everyone enjoys themselves.
Yes.
Allergist wife, you're
okay. Quick nod to those guys. I could not have done that.
There is something. So many people say that, and you say that now. But be honest, when the lights turn on, you forget about the audience. And so that is something to remember. And those guys were amazing and brave and just completely willing, which was awesome.
Yeah.
But they were not themselves. they were in character, and you can
Right.
do so much
Oh yeah.
when you're in character that you would never do as yourself because you get embarrassed.
Yeah.
You know, if someone's looking at you, then that is why auditions are so different than the way people actually do shows, because when you're auditioning, someone is sitting there judging you.
Yeah.
You know, how good are you at acting this role? Whereas when you get the role, well, then you can just be yourself and you can play and not be yourself, right? You can be someone else and transform. And then if that character has to take their clothes off, again, especially with our extra row of lights now, thank you to our new light rig, you don't see the audience.
Right.
And you're just in the world. And
I was going to bring up some images from that, but they're on this computer, not this computer. And you're welcome, everyone. But also, you missed out.
it
so
was amazing. But then and then this show, you're gonna laugh, and you're gonna be you're gonna find some similarities with your family. It was so there's the I don't know how much I want to give away.
No.
But
Let the audience go along for the ride.
the mother has a thing that she always talks about, a thing, and that the rest of the cast is like, and then last night I was having dinner at my mother-in-law's house, and then she brought up the exact same thing, and then I just started dying. It was in a different context, but then my brother-in-law was like, seriously, Mal? Like, why are we talking about this at the dinner table? And I was like, I am living in the show right now. It's amazing.
You're right though. That's one of the wonderful things about this play. We all recognize family members in this play, and that's a lot of. I mean, that's a lot of why and how Charles Busch wrote it. He was, he's said that he was writing about his own family members, and he hopes they forgive him. But they are very recognizable characters.
I was looking at the cast of Sleuth this morning in your email, which I opened now.
You mean Allergist Wife?
What did I say?
Sleuth, which was, just Kenko
Smaller
and Nick
cast.
Perry.
Yeah. So I was looking at the cast of The Allergist Wife this morning in your email that I actually read now.
Thank you.
And
it's a good email.
It is a good email. It is a good email. I just never open anything ever. And but anyway, so I was noticing, do you have two former Charahoe theater directors, the head of the Charahoe Player theater directors,
Mo and Maureen and
Maureen
Sandy.
and
Maureen and Sandy were both
Yep. So they
bookended
bookended me. So Maureen was when I was a freshman, she was the director and I wasn't. I was a football player. But she did it for the years while I was in middle school and then freshman. And she was the theater director. And then another English teacher took over, Tracy Haig, while I was in high school from 10th grade to 12th grade. And then it was Sandy. So and Tracy's in Indiana or something, or Nashville or somewhere. I have no idea. So she can't be on the show. But you have two former of the theater directors for the Charahoe Players, which I don't even know that they're called the Charahoe Players anymore. But they were at that point 25 years ago or whatever. So very cool. I noticed that. I was like, because I don't know Mo, but I know I have a lot of friends that obviously were a little bit older than me that were in her shows. And I was like, oh shit, that's crazy.
Yeah, we learned that the first night they were talking, and I don't know if they were talking about it at the table or if they were talking. I kind of remember them in chairs chatting about it.
I don't know, but I wouldn't even recognize the word Charahoe as anything at that point.
School.
So
yeah.
But
yeah, that is what is insane to me about this cast, is that what Ken was saying, like Sandy, Mo, and Heather were all acting teachers.
Yeah.
Cooper just came from New York where he did, some professional work. And the fact that you are the
I'm
you
the
and,
only one in the cast who doesn't have professional
Yeah.
experience. Yeah.
and you're so wonderful.
Oh,
Like,
but yeah,
Ken, I feel like you
it's
have
so funny.
professional
it
experience.
feels like he
It's-
does,
it's
right?
so-
Just
it-
talking to
Just-
you.
It is so
I'm like,
funny.
Yeah, he's a professional.
What
Whoa.
I got into the Art Town cast, and I remember first when I first heard that another member of the cast had been in a production of Art Town that um I had seen it in a different city, didn't see him in it.
Yeah.
I had seen it in New York, he did it in Boston.
Ralph.
But when I heard that Ralph had actually been in that production of Art Town that we had been blown away by, I practically broke my neck swinging my head around to him. I mean, I was absolutely in awe. But that kind of thing has become so commonplace working with people up here. I mean, last week I was hearing Sandy saying, "Oh yes, I did Shakespeare in the Park with Kevin Kline." I was like, "Oh yeah." No,
Not a big deal.
I'm actually not blasé about it. I'm still in awe of these people.
Yep. Absolutely. Absolutely. Anything else you want to that's coming up at the Granite that you want to talk about?
Yeah.
2 weeks of The Allergist Wife, right?
It's only
That's-
only 2 weeks. There's only 6 performances.
Get your tickets now,
Get
please.
your ticket, especially this weekend. Like
Yeah.
Saturday has, Saturday still needs to be filled up. So
Okay.
come on Saturday. And don't wait till the second weekend. The show is so ready.
Yeah.
You guys, they're gonna be awesome. So yeah, just get here. Trust me. Have I let you down yet?
No.
I'm trusting you.
Thank you, Ken.
Yeah.
Thank you. Ken does trust me.
He does. He does. Not enough to be in the Full Monty, but I'm
No, but
kidding, I'm
I-
kidding, I'm kidding.
he was
That's-
waiting for
that's-
Allergist Wife.
That's not trusting me.
though it is really funny, the back to Brad and Laramie, just like the fact that these people want, it's fun, right? You
Mhm.
want to work with the people that that inspire you and help you grow. And I had sent Brad the list of people who had signed up to audition for Laramie, and he was like, why isn't Ken Coe on this list? And Ken was working on the Full Monty car while I was designing lights at that time. And I said to Ken, I was like, Brad wants to know why you're not signed up for Laramie. And, Ken said something about Allergist and just taking up too much time. But then he said, I would just tell Brad I would walk on glass for him. Brad's response was, tell him to walk on glass to the auditions. And then the next day I saw Ken signed up to audition. And I was like, okay, there's the class.
Excellent.
But yeah, so it was really cool. This weekend we had Laramie Project rehearsal, Tale of the Allergist Wife, Tech, and the first read through for Peter Pan Jr. This coming weekend we open Allergist Wife, and we're having like an initial audition for Kiss Me Kate. The auditions for Kiss Me Kate, which are our summer musical. I'm still wearing a sweatshirt. They're in 2 weeks, less than 2 weeks. And then it's going to be Rocky Horror. Just
You may talk me into a musical for that one.
yeah, there we go.
There you go. There you go. Well, I love this. I'm so excited as always. Can't wait to see the show this weekend, Friday, Saturday, Sunday.
Mm-hmm.
Get your tickets right now, granitetheater.org.
Tickets are $25 to $30. I mean, come on, let's talk about all the things.
I mean, you could buy 10 tickets for the headset that I'm wearing right now. You could.
I think this water bottle was more than a ticket.
Yeah, I think so.
I didn't buy this water bottle. It was a gift.
Oh, that's nice. So yes,
Yeah.
guys, make sure that you come down and check it out. The Tale of the Allergist Wife, starring Ken Coe and Sandra Laub, and various other people who's
Maureen
Yeah,
Noel,
wonderful.
Heather
And-
Oakley, and
yeah,
Cooper
yeah,
Aquilino.
Yes.
whose names I don't know off the top of my head. So thank you guys so much for being here, and guys, just go check out granitetheater.org because there's always something.
Always something.
All right, we'll see you soon. Bye for now.
Thanks.
Thanks.
Bye.
Experience local excellence with Roof Right Roofing in Charlestown, Rhode Island. With over 40 years of unmatched expertise, Roof Right specializes in architectural shingles and holds the prestigious title of GAF Master Elite Installers. Known for their commitment to the community and support for local initiatives, Roof Right is your trusted partner for all of your home's roofing needs. Call today for a free estimate at 401-212-4140.
Hi, this is Dan from Lathrop Insurance. In this challenging insurance environment, Lathrop Insurance can be your beacon in the storm to help you find the coverage you need at the right price. Now, more than ever, you need a partner in the insurance industry that can work with multiple carriers to make sure you have the right coverage at the right price. Lathrop Insurance carries home, auto, and business insurance and can be reached at 401-596-2525. We've been supporting the local community since 1939, and we look forward to working with you.
What's going on, everybody? It's Patrick down here at the Wireless Zone at Dunn's Corners at 224 Post Road, and everybody down here is getting the brand new iPhone 16. We have it here in stock. The best part is right now, if you trade in your old phone, you get it for free. We got deals all weekend, awesome savings. Come on down and see us, 224 Post Road, Dunn's Corners, Verizon Wireless Zone. We'll see you soon.
D&V Mechanical specializes in the installation, maintenance, and servicing of Mitsubishi ductless mini split heat pump systems. We are certified by Mitsubishi as Diamond Elite contractors and factory trained and up to date on the proper procedure of the installation and service of Mitsubishi ductless heating and air conditioning ductless heat pumps. We assist with the paperwork to reduce much of the stress-related documentation required to get the state rebates and federal tax incentives. We are not a jack-of-all-trades, master-of-nothing company. We are masters of ductless heat pumps. It's what we do, and it's what we know.